Well, welcome everyone to, what is this, episode 14?
I think so. Let's hope we get it right this week.
Well, it's up there. We're in the teens.
It's an episode, yeah.
I think the podcast has probably started smoking and drinking now.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's 14. And, possibly being promiscuous as well.
I think so. I think
which-
the podcast, we've brought it up to be quite open-minded. And
Yeah. It's exploring it.
it's exploring itself, yeah. Absolutely.
Or it's
So-
just like a complete shut-in, maybe.
Yeah. If it takes after one of its dads, then it definitely will.
Both.
Both at this point. Both dads, it will be a complete shut-in. But, it's a teenager. It's probably going to be rebellious. It's going to go out and get a boyfriend or girlfriend.
Yeah, we don't mind.
We don't mind. We're very open.
Yeah. So, how are you doing, audience? I'd say I've got a really rough cold today, and Felix was just cheering me up by showing me footage of kamikaze attacks for the Battle of Okinawa.
It does always cheer one up. Yeah.
It kind of does. It puts things in perspective.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's
You're like,
one good
none of
thing
my
about
problems are
Warfare.
that bad.
Yeah, I could be on Iwo Jima. Again, we're talking about Iwo Jima every fucking time we do this podcast. It just comes back to the Japanese.
You know, we were
yeah.
visited. I was with my girlfriend on Friday, and we were visited by a cousin of hers, and we were talking about. She's spent a lot of time in Asia, and she was just started talking about what it was like when she went to Japan, and she was talking about like going to Mount Fiji and checking out Tokyo and Kyoto, all those places, and I still managed to pivot the conversation to me ranting about what happened at Okinawa in 1945.
Excellent. It's a skill, being able to bring everything back to the Second World War, which I practice very frequently.
Yeah, I didn't, and she obviously isn't interested in that, so all she could really say was, you like history, don't you?
Yeah, I've been reading. I'm keeping going with my book on the Pacific War. There's a lot of. I was just on the chapter about prisoner of war camps and how awful that was, and all the people getting beriberi, which is vitamin B
what is that?
Vitamin
It
B
fucks up your
deficiency.
skin, doesn't it?
So there's two types. This is swiftly becoming like a pathology podcast. There's wet beriberi and dry beriberi, and wet gives you like really bad heart conditions and makes your legs swell up, and dry makes you waste away and die that way. So yeah, not very nice. Don't be in a prisoner of war camp in the 1940s in the Pacific Theatre under the Japanese.
Is it a virus or a bacteria?
It's a vitamin B deficiency. So
Oh,
because they're all eating
deficiency,
like 200 grams of rice a day and that's it. They didn't really get many essential nutrients.
No. I was actually last night before I went to bed. I was reading about the Black Death.
Another excellent topic.
Whenever I get a cold, I'm like, oh, I want to read about the Black Death.
The fatalism begins to take over.
Yeah. No, it's just crazy because people always go ask questions like, why did Europe, of all places, like take over the world in the early modern period? Why did like modernity start in Europe? Why did capitalism start in Europe? And it's like, it's actually really obvious that it was just the Black Death is the reason why.
Why in particular the Black Death?
Well, there's a dumb justification for believing that, which is you just look at the Black Death and you think, okay, nowhere else on Earth had its population halved in 2 years by this disease at that point in time. Europe's the only place that had that, and Europe was the place that ended up taking over the world. And there's no other event on that scale before Europe took over the world.
And that's
so,
the justification.
So you think it's probably got something to do with that. But then you can actually like explain it better in more detail. You can say like, well, it halved the population or possibly did even more damage. And then that created a lot of social friction because
I was going to say it had like massive
smaller
economic
workforce
implications and things. Yeah.
Yeah. So like prices for general kind of foodstuffs went down a lot, and then wages started to go up a lot, and then the upper classes found themselves trying to kind of stave off wage increases and stuff. And then that's why you had like the peasants' revolt.
I was going to say they tried to force people to work and stuff, and
yeah.
Well, finally the peasants had some power because there's there's only a third of them left.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't like immediately cause the modern era to start, but it set off a chain of events.
The chain of like social reforms led to kind of more progressive, policies and things.
If you look at like the city of Florence, this is one of the craziest things about it. The population of Florence didn't return to its pre-Black Death figures until I think the 19th century.
That is crazy.
That's so mad. That's like it doesn't make any.
And that's the birthplace of the Renaissance, so maybe it's kind of handy.
Exactly. Italy was hit really hard by it. You're going to Florence?
I am in July for a conference.
I think you mentioned that actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Florence is cool. It's really when you're going July. You might have it'd be a lot of tourists.
Probably. But I can stride around with purpose because I'm going there for business.
Yeah, well, what you got to do is bring a crate filled with Yersinia pestis bacteria, and
I've got some actually in my shed.
Yeah, no, it's a cool city. It's got the Uffizi Art Gallery. That's cool. But
I think we're staying right near the Duomo Cathedral as well.
Oh, that's
cool. I look forward to seeing that. I'll be taking my camera with me.
Yeah. Oh, you have to. Yeah. There's a really cool like square. I don't know what it's called, but there's a cool square where you got big statues of all the Renaissance artists around, and it's very grand.
Yeah, we're right near the center of town, so I'll have a proper walk around.
They're pretty easy. Italian cities are pretty easy to walk around because they're just. You have the Duomo in the middle, and then it's just like everything's a circle around
just
that.
All
like
around
Milan's
yeah,
like
I did have a look at a map as well to try and see like where was I staying versus all these important things, and it is literally like just walking around the corner and everything is there.
Yeah, you won't get lost. Yeah. Florence is cool. I'll tell you where I wouldn't go in Italy is Venice, because apparently that has just been completely ruined by tourists, which is a shame because that seems like a very cool city.
When I saw all the stuff about them having to like charge people to go into the city because the tourism was so bad, I knew I was like,
yeah,
I'm not really that interested in Italy, to be honest. It's never been one of those countries I'm like, I desperately want to go.
Well, the Roman stuff's cool, and then after that, their history is like not. There's a lot of it, but it's all like fractured.
Yeah, I feel as though it's not like general knowledge history as well. You know, all these Italian states. Yeah, most people. I think history is one of those things, right? And I kind of struggled with a lot of history for a while until, because at school you learn about like the Tudors and you learn about the Middle Ages, and you learn about modern history. But the connecting points where those transitions happen is something you don't learn, and I think that's a real shame because it wasn't until I kind of learnt more about how one thing leads to another that it all kind of clicked for me. Because if you ask the layman like what happened in Italy post the Dark Ages, most people don't know that even like they were just a bunch of states that it was just like Venice on its own and all these Milan and all these like just city states effectively, and the Pope.
It's a big problem with the way the humanities are taught in general is they're taught in a very unsystematic way. So there's no kind of so when you learn history, it's just like fun facts. That's why they like the Tudors, because it's like, how many wives did Henry VIII have?
Yeah.
What were their names? It's just like rote learning shit, and it's like
they're quite like fashionable and it's quite a cultural part, especially in terms of this country. But you don't learn that key transition from the War of the Roses into the Tudors, and then from the war, from the Middle Ages into the Tudor period, and the Renaissance
Yeah.
and that whole area.
It's never explained, like, why does Tudor art look so much better than art from 100 years before that?
Yeah.
Like, they never tell you stuff about that. Like, why is it so different? Why were the clothes so different?
Exactly.
Why was the Reformation happening despite the previous, like, millennium being, having Western Europe completely dominated by Catholicism? Like, why did that happen then? And it's like, well, because Henry VIII wanted to get a divorce. And it's like, okay, but it can't just be that one contingency. Like, surely there were other kings before him who wanted to get a divorce, but
and also
didn't have the
him wanting to get a
opportunity.
divorce wouldn't cause half of Europe to schism away from,
Yeah.
the Germans didn't really care about Henry VIII's divorce. They had other reasons.
No.
So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, the Germans were just completely insane back then. That's
Definitely.
They were so mad.
The Dark Ages is, I kind of hesitate to call it that, but like post-Rome is
Post-classical.
Post-classical. It's definitely a period that does not get enough attention in schools, I think.
I agree so much. That's especially, like, we're living in the United Kingdom, which basically evolved out of England.
Yeah.
Essentially. And, like, how did that come about? Like, how did England become a thing? We're never taught about that. All you learn about is, like, did you know the Vikings didn't actually have horns in their helmets? It's just stuff like that.
History in like pre-secondary school is actually just, did you know?
Yeah.
Did you know this?
I love that period. I love, like, the early Middle Ages. I was spamming you with pictures of Carolingian art.
Yes, you were. Yeah, that's another
so
thing.
cool.
The Carolingian, like the whole era, that whole the various dukes and petty kingdoms and fiefdoms in England. Like,
yeah,
what Athelstan,
good guy. Yeah,
great guy, friend of the show. we're drifting towards rest is history now.
Yeah, but neither of us are historians.
No, we're just like interested parties.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't even know who the Franks were until I was like 14, and that was just from reading Wikipedia. I wasn't taught about that at school.
I think it was a combination of historical strategy games and Wikipedia that made my mind finally click. Playing like Crusader Kings and being able to play through the 7th to 13th centuries, and then you're like,
yeah,
now I see how slow everything was evolving, but it was still moving.
Yeah,
and like, and you get to start different time points. You're like, so that's what happened to these guys, and
yeah, I remember the moment it kind of clicked with me, which must have been I was in my early teens, and I was. We all heard about the fall of the Roman Empire and everything, but I didn't. I remember going on the Wikipedia article for late antiquity for the first time, and the first picture was it's a picture of a sculpture called the Barberini Triptych. I think it's an ivory sculpture of one of the late Roman emperors. They don't know who exactly. It was probably Justinian. On horseback. It's like a triumphant thing. But the point is, I saw it, and it basically looks medieval. Like, it doesn't look classical at all. But this was a Roman sculpture. And it was like, oh, this was like a weird transitional period where it's like, all the stuff that we associate with the Middle Ages was like forming whilst the Roman Empire was still dominating Western Europe.
Yeah, and they were around for ages, even after Rome fell. And obviously the Byzantines were there. That's such an interesting period when the Romans are basically just turning into Italians.
Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, the late Roman Empire is actually, I think, basically a different thing from like the classical Roman Empire that everyone thinks of. In like ideologically, it was completely different. Once it had become Christian, and it was basically like a
turning point, isn't it?
It became nationalistic in a way. This is the thing. Like the classical period of the Roman Empire, it was basically the average inhabitant of the empire was a non-citizen peasant who had no real interest in what was going on in the capital.
Yeah, it's just different guys in different coloured clothes.
It's just a small group of aristocrats who are basically the mafia, who are LARPing as Greeks, just like controlling all the trade networks. But then I think it was under Caracalla, I could be wrong, but sort of halfway through, like when they got into that more Baroque period, they passed legislation that made every resident of the empire a citizen. So they were all Romans. You were no longer a Gaul under the
Syrian
rule of the Romans. Yeah, you were now a Roman, and then not that long after that, you had the growth of Christianity and eventually the institutionalization of Christianity. And at that point, it meant being a Roman meant something completely different to what it had meant in the earlier classical period.
That's when all the emperors started becoming from like everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah. None of them were Italian at that point. Most of them were from Croatia, like kind of area. What was it called? What was that ethnic group? I can't remember.
Like Scythians?
Illyrians.
Kind of Illyrians, yeah.
Yeah, no, the Scythians were more like they were like further to the northeast, just above like the Balkans and like Ukraine.
Trying to use my Rome 2 Total War knowledge here.
I think the Scythians are cool, especially the Sarmatians, who are a particular type of Scythians, I think. They were like Iranians, but they were like blonde Iranians. Because back then, Iranian is a language group, just like Germanic languages or Turkic languages or whatever. But it was much more. The Iranian languages were much more widespread than they are today. So you had all the, and they dressed like wizards. They wore these like really pointy hats and like these crazy colorful cloaks and stuff, and they were really good horse riders. But they were Iranian, but they were like, they had like blonde hair, and they lived in, I guess, like southern Russia or around the Black Sea kind of region around there, just riding horses around the steppes and stuff.
Good archers, I think. Good horse archers.
Yeah, very good. Are you thinking like Rome Total War now?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly where I'm trying to. I'm pulling my knowledge from.
You do get Scythians in that game, don't you?
Yeah, and like Parthians and all that. There's
Parthians, yeah.
They did an expansion called Attila, where it's like East and West Roman Empire, and then you can play as all the Goths, and there's like disease mechanics. You have to make sure your cities have good sanitation, otherwise everyone starts dying. It's cool.
I'd be curious to play that actually, because that is like the period I like. I like that period more than like the earlier classical period of Roman history.
We should get back to Total War. I remember playing a lot of Rome together.
I remember the Cimmerians. Do you remember the Cimmerians? They were like around the top of the Black Sea. They were fucking annoying. I remember trying to negotiate with I was Macedonia, and I kept trying to negotiate with the king of the Cimmerians. And the guy was such a prick, and he was so aggressive, and I didn't want to fight
Scythian,
him.
But ethnically distinct. Yeah, so
he was just annoying.
Black Sea, basically.
Yeah, and like I just wanted to turn it into a little client state so that I didn't have to bother conquering it, because there was nothing there, and the guy just would not accept any gifts or anything. He just wanted to fight me. It was like,
were you playing as the Romans?
No, I was Macedonian.
Oh yes, of course. I think I was the Romans.
Of course,
the Egyptians.
You were the Romans. Yeah, you were Rome, and I was so Macedonia.
Rome is so fucking good. I mean, obviously the game's called Rome, but the Romans are just so powerful in that game.
I was just like the Macedonians because I like pointy shapes, and like that's basically their entire war machine. It's just like the pike phalanx.
Just phalanx poking people. Oh yeah, the Sarissa cavalry, the massively long spears.
The companions, the hetairoi. Yeah,
very cool.
Macedonian's very cool. Yeah.
Should we have a look at some modern history now? Should we have a look at history that's being made second by second?
Absolutely.
I'm trying to think what's actually happened. Obviously, Lord Mandelson, has been ousted as a mega nonce. Mm-hmm. Actually, I'll tell you what, before we get into anything,
some flack for that.
As the resident Epstein knowledge master, law master, is there anything else of interest that's come out?
I did see there are photos come to light which shows like a dinner party Epstein was having, and Elon Musk is there, and Mark Zuckerberg is there as well.
I'm in shock. I could never.
Could you imagine? Coming. That is really a nightmare blunt rotation.
That absolutely is. God, imagine the chat: Epstein, Zuckerberg, and Elon Musk. Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, I got so lost in it. Yeah, I mean, I guess the things people have mostly been talking about have been Elon Musk trying to deny what's obviously there in the files, like actual emails from him.
Yeah, after the Girls for the Win, he was like, this is fake. And it's like, yeah, this is fake. But all the other emails where you're begging to go to his creepy pedo sex island definitely aren't fake.
And I think his daughter actually got involved, and she said that she claimed to verify the email from him because he was saying like, I'm in some place near the island right now, and she was like, yeah, I was there, I remember we were there. Like, so that email is true. It seems that none of his children like him.
No, I mean, he's got loads of them.
Yeah, and he doesn't really stick around, I guess.
His whole philosophy, I think, was to like, he basically wanted, I mean, obviously he's a complete knob, so he was like, I want a clan so that after the apocalypse, I can basically like homestead with all my harem of wives and millions of children.
Yeah, it's like acting as if that's not just a fetish he has.
Yeah.
Like a breeding fetish, which is obviously what he actually has.
Yeah.
But I think he's kind of influenced by an ideology / cult that comes from California, from like the tech people, which they've called, it's a funny name, they call themselves the Rationalists.
Classic.
Of course, yeah. It's like calling yourselves, like the people who know the truth.
Yeah,
like,
the soothsayers club.
But they are not French philosophers from the 18th century. They are.
Oh my god.
No, how would you call? They're into like transhumanism.
Oh yeah. They're like tech bros who wish they had mega like robo-dongs.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. I don't really get what it is. It's linked to the Zizian cult. Do you remember that was in the news quite a lot last year? They were a cult. They were like an offshoot of the rationalist movement, but I think they were more extreme, and they actually killed a bunch of people. It was like a group of these weird nerds from California that were like, they were led by this one person. It's kind of like, it's just this kind of lame thing where it's like, oh, we're creating a religion, but instead of God, we'll put like AI there.
Yeah,
or,
the classic Elon Musk.
Exactly, but it's like, it's actually intellectually quite lazy because everything is the same as just like a bog standard religion, but you're just substituting God for technology. Yeah, so it's like, that's what it is. But Musk is quite influenced by the rationalist philosophy, and I think part of that is like an anti-Malthusian thing where you believe that you need to maintain the highest possible birth rates in order to increase the odds. It's just probability theory, I guess. You got to increase the odds of having someone who will save the climate crisis or something like that.
I see, If we throw enough shit at the wall.
Yeah, if we keep clogging the earth up with people, eventually we'll get someone who can deal with the fact that there are so many people on Earth.
That's interesting flaw. I remember listening to the Joe Rogan episodes when I was like, I don't know, 16 or 17. Being like, oh my god, this guy is... it must have been later than that. It must have been, 18? I must have been 18 or 19. Being like, holy shit, this guy's a genius. And I remember playing one of them in the car for my dad. And looking back now, it's so embarrassing. I tried to rewatch it the other day just to see... And oh my god, it's so cringe. Joe Rogan is just sucking Musk off non-stop the whole time. Just calling him like a wizard and a god and the most intelligent man ever. And it's like, Jesus, how did I listen to this?
He is such a fucking bootlicker, Joe Rogan.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone's complaining because he's not been calling like all of his guests out because half of them have been on the island.
Yeah, there's so many Epstein Files features on the Joe Rogan Experience. It's fucking crazy.
And now he won't call them out because obviously his handlers tell him not to. Like Sam Altman and all the OpenAI guys and the Palantir guys.
Well, actually, on that point, that one of the things I heard was Epstein was so slimy. He had a habit of recording meetings secretly that he was having with people.
Oh, excellent.
And one of them was with what's his name, Ehud Barak or something, the former Prime Minister of Israel.
Oh,
he
yeah,
was
okay.
he was prime minister of Israel a while back. I think like late 90s, early noughties. And in this meeting that Epstein records, Epstein is saying to him, he's basically, I think they're talking about Ehud's like transition into the private sector. And Epstein is saying to him, like, I've got this great company you should buy shares in. It's called Palantir, and it's run
Oh my
by this
God.
guy, Peter Thiel. And
Yes.
I can put you in touch, and you should definitely buy some shares. They're like a great new startup, venture capital thing. And yeah, it's crazy. It's so crazy because that's how it works. It's not like these people are really smart investors, like following the signals, or that you even have to have a really great company. Because to have a great company, you just got to get the right investors,
Yeah.
and to get the right investors, you just have to be friends with Jeffrey Epstein
Yeah.
and molest children with him.
This
And
is
that's
why
how you
this is why so
succeed.
many countries are having trouble with growth right now. It's because Jeffrey Epstein's died. And,
Yeah, they can't get investment.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, good
Yeah, but
outlook for the future.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff like that, and then also people have just found emails that get darker and darker. I think there was like one email sent. This is the thing: the really bad emails that are sent to Epstein that are really incriminating have all had the
Yeah.
names taken off, basically. So there was like one saying like your littlest girl the other night was especially naughty or something really creepy
Oh,
like
that's
that.
really awful.
Yeah, and
Love
then like
the torture video.
yeah, that was a classic. That was from Jeff himself. There was like one where they're just talking about a 9-year-old girl.
Yeah, I think I've seen
So
that one too.
it just gets like the more people are digging, the more of this shit's coming out.
Because with a lot of them,
And
they're
it
like,
just-
"Oh, let's order some grape soda and pizza to have later."
Yeah.
Grape soda, and then other ones, it's like, "Dude, raping that 12-year-old was sick."
yeah,
It's so funny. Sometimes they just can't be asked to use their code.
yeah. I think grape soda must be group sex, right?
Yeah,
Is
that
that what that
seems because they always seem
Pizza,
to say
we
it's
know,
always
is-
pizza.
is-
It's kids,
Yeah, that
Right.
must be.
child porn, CP.
That's been in the culture, the
Yeah.
pedophile culture for a long
Yeah.
time. you know.
Pizzagate is still going.
The map community has been using pizza and cheese pizza for a long time. That's
And
well
hot
established.
dogs, apparently.
Hot dogs? Yeah, what were the hot dogs? Is
think
that boys?
Alex Jones said they're brown boys.
Okay, right. I don't. Probably not reliable. Could you imagine if it just turned out Jeffrey Epstein loved pizza and hot dogs and grape soda?
And grape soda. He loved purple drank. Guy was so into that shit. Another
yeah, that's
person,
actually what it was.
Alex Jones. Why isn't he kicking up a fuss about the literal kiddie raping vampire cult that is actually in charge of the world's finances?
Well, this is the funny thing, isn't it? Because like
that's a
Alex
way
Jones
to
and
put it.
all those guys, they are clearly like a controlled opposition. Like
Yes.
not in the sense that they're receiving direct orders from Jeffrey Epstein or whatever, but their whole movement has been funded and
Yeah, it's
accelerated.
manipulated from the beginning.
Yeah, and manipulated
Not
to some
directly,
extent.
but like guided,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Exactly, and these people know where their checks are coming from, which is
Yeah.
why, it's the same thing with Nick Fuentes, who has been going on for years about Jewish pedophile networks, and then the moment he actually sees one, he's like, "This guy was cool."
I was good friends with him.
Because it was like their whole movement was just a result of Jeffrey Epstein hanging out with Moot and Ghislaine
Yeah.
Maxwell modding Reddit, like front page subreddits.
Yeah, I
Did you
saw
hear
that
about
as well.
that
Yeah,
She was just
Yeah,
a
like
mod on loads
Jerry
of subreddits.
Maxwell on like r/news.
Yeah, on like r/news. Yeah, just like the most front page subreddits. So they can't actually, and it incriminates Trump, I guess, and those guys are generally pro-Trump, so they can't actually,
Talk about
and it's
it or,
crazy.
like, kick up
You
a
think they were
fuss.
preparing for this moment the whole time, and then it's just not. As soon as they get that moment, it's like, oh, turns out my guy was involved in it.
Oops.
And yeah, I can't say shit now. Oh yeah, no, Epstein was cool.
There's a YouTuber I watch who I mean, he's not exclusively, but he mostly does like Joe Rogan drama content, and all of his most recent things are like Joe Rogan annoyed after guest calls out, you know, what's his name, the Palantir guy, Peter Thiel, yeah. It's like some guy's going off for Peter Thiel and Joe Rogan's looking like really awkward and like he's ready to cut the guy off.
He loves Thiel.
Yeah, definitely. He's had him on like loads of times.
Yeah, they're like good friends. I don't know, because I remember when Rogan before the Spotify deal and all this shit.
I think that was the biggest turning point, wasn't it?
Yeah, but he was like broadly libertarian, I guess. That was his politics.
Definitely.
He supported in the 2016. He supported, was it Gary Johnson? Was that the libertarian guy? Do you remember?
Vaguely, because
he was the guy who.
Andrew Yang, I think he had Andrew Yang on the podcast at one point.
Yeah, that was like the Democrat he liked.
Yeah.
He wanted to be like bipartisan. That was Joe Rogan's thing. It's like, I'm not a doctrinaire supporter of any party, but I'm generally like a South Park libertarian. That was like
he wasn't like a mega anti-trans kind of right-wing guy as well.
No.
He was all right with it, but that's obviously changed.
Yeah, I guess people weren't talking about that stuff that much back then. Not in 2015. They were still talking about gay marriage.
He seemed pretty chill, yeah, and he was always pretty chill about that stuff. But now he's slowly morphing into like almost an Alex Jones platform.
Yeah,
you know,
but like
all the people he gets on are like lunatics. Yeah, way more. Yeah, because he's actually got an audience who doesn't see him as ludicrous as Alex Jones is.
Well, I think the thing is, when Alex Jones was at his peak, that ideology was not popular with elites, let's call them, you know, billionaire types.
Yeah.
You know, like Elon Musk in the 2010s was, I'm pretty sure, pro-Democrat, and his whole thing was that he was like an environmental guy, and he was going to come up with new technology that would save the environment. And I think that's the thing. Like back then, you had that alliance in America. The elites were broadly aligned with the Democrat Party, and
definitely,
and the various classes that support the Democrat Party. But then it shifted, and all the elites kind of shifted towards the Republican Party. I don't know when exactly. Maybe it was when Biden was president. Maybe it was the pandemic. I don't really know. I'm sure it was a gradual.
You don't
process.
think it was a bit before, like around 2016, when Donald Trump was getting really popular?
I'm sure it started around then, because I think it started around then
because you can feel the wind change.
Yeah,
it's so funny that that like Trump's whole platform was like changing the elites. You know, it was almost quite left wing, really. You know, like getting rid of this,
drain the swamp.
You know, get rid of all this like entrenched elites. But really, they've just been above everything the whole time, and just aligning themselves with whoever's popular at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I can't track it as well in America, because I have been thinking a lot about this, but more in terms of UK politics, which follows a slightly different trajectory.
Yeah,
and also
we've never
like
really been as extreme.
No, but our like social makeup, our class structure is a bit different to the US. But I'm sure there are similarities. But like, I think what you have like a working class who don't really have any say in what happens politically that much. And then you have in the UK, you have a very large middle class, which is divided. There are, as far as I can tell, there are basically three types of the middle class in the UK, and they're not structured hierarchically. They're like horizontally, you know, they're on the same level,
parallel,
but they do different things. And one of those branches is, they used to be called the petite bourgeoisie, but they're basically they're the middle class people. I would call them like the enterprise class, and they're the ones who run small to medium sized businesses.
Yeah,
and their businesses produce things normally, and then sell those things. And so it's traditional capitalism where you run a business. It could be construction, could be a small tech company or something, it could be anything. But the point is, you're not making your profit from monopolizing things. You're still competitive. You still try and compete in a market against other firms. That's one part of the middle class. Then there's another part, which is like, I guess people would call them the professional managerial class. And they are the bureaucrats for the elites. So they're like private sector bureaucrats. So like, I guess the jobs that I've had would put me in that group, like office jobs where you're not making anything at all.
Clerks and things like that.
Yeah, it's a clerical class. You're like just organizing shit, you're just doing like, managing things. And then there's the third part of the middle class, which is the actual bureaucrat class, which is people who work in the public sector. I would also include like people who work in the charity sector or just the third sector in general. And I think what's happened, so the professional managerial class, their interests have always been aligned with the elites because they work directly for the elites. So regardless of what happens, they'll be in the same kind of camp. Now, the enterprise class, they sometimes their interests converge with the interests of the elites. And so in the 2010s, what happened in the UK was an alliance formed between the elites. And the elites, the defining feature of the elites is that they don't really make stuff that much. Their primary source of wealth is monopolizing things. So they don't make money from a traditional profit. They make it from economic rent, and that's why they're typically tech-centered, because that's the way the internet works. It's all about monopolizing digital space, and basically being like, well, you have no alternative, so you have to pay for the subscription if you want to, if you want to be able to sell stuff on a marketplace online or whatever. It's that kind of thing. But I think they formed an alliance with the enterprise class, who are basically Thatcherites because they were birthed during the Thatcherite era mostly. Which is why a lot of them identify as working class, despite being like completely middle class, like people in Essex. Yeah. And then that led to like Brexit and, the Tory governments we had, and Boris Johnson and all that stuff. And then it self-destructed because the enterprise class realized their main thing that they were opposed to was immigration. Because whilst the elites can employ lots of migrants, especially illegal migrants, if you like run Uber, you're not going to be anti-immigration, are you?
Yeah, you can just
but the enterprise class, they're less likely to hire those people for reasons that aren't particularly interesting. But they're more opposed to immigration because they are competing with the elite class. Say like you run a taxi company.
I was going to say a taxi firm, like a smaller local taxi firm.
And you're getting driven out of business by Uber, whatever. You can't hire undocumented migrants or whatever. Uber can.
I guess the risk if you're caught as well is like...
Yeah. But like if Uber gets caught, nothing's going to happen. They've got the economies of scale to weather any legal battle. It doesn't matter. So what happened was you had Brexit, and that was basically the main reason Brexit happened. The main reason people supported Brexit was immigration, ultimately.
Yeah, definitely.
It was all about immigration. And they had Brexit, and they were like, great, we've got it now. We'll go back to, a nice middle England where everyone lives in small towns and everyone owns their own little business. It's a nation of shopkeepers. Everyone's friends and, helps each other out and competes in these like small, lesser marketplaces. And it just didn't happen. In fact, immigration went up under Boris Johnson.
Yeah, it's actually
kept going up.
Worse.
Yeah, and it's for a lot of these people a lot of them are racist. It's a lot worse because now the immigrants aren't coming from white countries in Europe. They're coming from third world countries all over the place. So it's really pissing them off. So that whole alliance fractured.
It's also resulted in like shit economic growth because we no longer have access to the single market in Europe.
Exactly. And so they completely shot themselves in the foot because they didn't realize that they had formed this pact with the devil, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then it all fell apart. And so what happened next was the elites shifted to forming an alliance with another class, namely the bureaucrat class. not the PMC, they're already naturally aligned with them, but the public sector, charity sector, third sector people. And that's why we have the Labour government we have now. It's just another alliance. And that will probably fracture as well.
I mean, it's coming apart at the seams quite considerably right now.
Exactly. And the reality is...
and people aren't happy about it.
And the thing is, this is why the UK won't last, is because this whole class structure where you have elites and then this like tripartite middle class is inherently unstable. And you know, that's why it destroyed the Tory party. The Tory party had been around for fucking ages, since the early 19th century.
Yeah.
They're our longest lasting political party, and they completely just self-destructed. And it's not because of who was in charge of the Tory party. I know they had some incompetent people. Like, no one's going to deny that.
Yeah, but it's going to say Liz Truss is a winner, are they?
Yeah, but there's a reason why people like her ended up in charge of the party. It's because there was no...
Well, there was... Yeah.
You know, she was brought in because all the enterprise class people really wanted her because she was a Thatcherite, and they wanted Thatcherism again. Because in their heads, they think that Thatcherism is some historically transcendent philosophy. It's the perfect style of politics and economics. We figured it out in the 80s. All of human history, the whole reason humans have suffered and been poor for all of history is because they didn't have Thatcherism. And so they thought, if it doesn't matter where you're living, when you're living, what the material conditions are, what the contingent historical facts are, if you just do Thatcherism, everything will be okay. And they thought that. And what they didn't realize is that it's completely past it. It's no longer relevant. And as soon as they got this hardcore Thatcherite government, the elites put their foot down. All the banks said, no, fuck you. And then it was done in what, like 2 months? Like,
if that.
And that was the Tories' like last ditch. And then they put Sunak in charge, who was a bit more balanced. But still, the reason why, and this is why the Labour government won't last that long, you know, and it will also probably self-destruct, is because this whole class system we have is inherently irrational. It's not like in the 19th century we had a class system that was brutal. It was brutal. You had people living in slums, you know, getting their limbs chopped off in factories and stuff. It was and a really strong labor movement, and you know, growing unions. You know, the threat of strikes. Once you get into the 20th century, you get these huge strikes, but it was still somewhat rational in that it kept propelling us forward. Yeah. And you could have, you know, you had a Labour Party by the 20th century and a Tory Party, and those were the two divisions in the society. And we flip-flop from one to the other, but the divisions were clear-cut, and there were no internal divisions within those alliances. Whereas now, because you have this new class of elites we didn't have techno elites back then. That makes any kind of political alignment with them in it, and it has to be with them in it because they're the most powerful people, completely untenable, and it will fracture and self-destruct. Anyway, that's I started laughing halfway through because I suddenly realised this was from a segue on Lord Mandelson and giving some context behind Lord Mandelson being in the Epstein files. The autism kicked in. I'm afraid.
No. That was a quick rundown of the state of the UK.
Why the UK is fucked. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it does segue quite nicely because obviously Mandelson's been kicked out, and there's a huge to-do because he was let go with like £50,000. It's all been trying to hush. Starmer's trying to say that it wasn't his fault. And that Lord Mandelson was like, oh yeah, I knew Jeffrey Epstein, but I didn't diddle any kids. And Keir Starmer was like, all right, and made him the ambassador to the US. And it's a complete clusterfuck. And
oh wait, so did Starmer know about the Epstein connection when he made Mandelson ambassador?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think it was known that Mandelson hung out with Epstein. But it was like Frank Reynolds. Like I was just snorkeling on the island. I didn't know about all the kid fucking.
Well, he's the guy who said the reason he wasn't paedophile is because he was gay.
Because he's gay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure there weren't any hot dogs on the island for him to feast upon. But so now the Prime Minister's aide has stepped down. I'm not sure really why it's his fault. I guess they are just throwing all the rats off the boat as quick as possible.
Yeah, that's a classic. Yeah. Do you think this will bring Starmer down?
I think it is not looking good at the moment.
Yeah.
I think now that it's come out that he knew about it and still let him, stay on.
When Starmer got elected, I thought, like, this guy won't last long. I thought it would just be the same as, like, Sunak and Truss and, and Johnson and so on. But he's actually lasted a lot longer than I thought he would. I don't know why.
I don't think it's been that awful. I mean, it's not been great. It's not revolutionary, is it? But it's not...
No, my rent is still too expensive and I can't afford decent groceries.
I guess it isn't that great. That's what I mean. It hasn't been revolutionary, but, we're still alive. He did some really awful interview where he said, like, oh, well, I just trusted him. And that, I think, was the beginning of the end. Because all the papers caught on to that and they were like, didn't you just... He literally just told you he was out there. Yeah. And you didn't think to have a look into it.
That just sounds like another way of saying, like, I have no good way to judge people's character.
Yeah, so everyone's saying now he has awful judgment. He's a complete retard. Now his chief of staff is gone as a result.
I mean, this is a very kind of Reform UK talking point I'm about to make, but
okay.
I think I'm right in saying that Starmer was God, my brain is in a weird spot today. What's the term? The guy in charge of the court system.
The Chief Justice or
Chief Justice when the Rotherham scandal was ongoing.
Yes, yeah, wasn't he? Yeah.
And so it's a similar thing. So he's already got that in his reputation, but now you got the Epstein thing, which is much more international and just a bigger headline in general. It's just
huge at the moment, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, yeah. And it's annoying because, in the last episode of the show, I made a big point about, Starmer was not in the files, and I received information from high-level contacts telling me that the storm was gathering and he would be able to do this. And then it turns out Mandelson's betrayed him.
Yeah.
One of his and now I don't know if Starmer's safe.
Fucking boys.
That's court eunuch.
Yeah, one of his many plotting eunuchs has been exposed in his ribaldry, and now it's speaking
apart.
of which, speaking of reform, based on my reliable source, Reform is not... They're starting to drop in popularity quite considerably. They're still way ahead of everyone else in terms of voting intentions. But Labour the Conservatives have overtaken Labour now at 20%, Labour at 19%, and Reform at 28%. But that is decreasing from a high of 31, which was in September of last year. It's been dropping pretty steadily. And the Conservatives have been rising, as we said last time, pretty much... exactly proportionally to Reform's drop.
I wonder how much of this is to do with the Epstein files as well, because Farage is obviously getting a lot of flack. For being good friends with Donald Trump. And stuff.
I don't know if he has the balls to call out all of his freaky allies that he's basically been sucking off the entire time.
Yeah,
who all turn out to be a bunch of creeps. Shock.
I wonder what it is, though. Do you know what I feel like might have happened is all these Tories joining Reform just kind of made people think, oh, well, I may as well just vote Tory then, because, like, it's just turning into another Tory party.
I think a lot of, especially the people who are leaving are, like, all the nut jobs that I think a lot of people didn't really like them being in the Conservative Party. I think Reform's done Tories a favour by just kind of providing a place for the real nut jobs to go.
Yeah. It's
and
just
now they can go. They can kind of like steady on now and actually show that they maybe could not be retarded.
Yeah,
we'll see.
But I just don't think I don't think it will. I just don't think it will work. Like any of these parties, really.
No, I don't.
I mean,
I still don't think any of these parties are particularly good. Wouldn't fucking vote for the Greens, that's for sure. The Lib Dems wouldn't do anything. Reform are all
the main problem with the
nutjobs.
Greens. The main problem with the Greens is the disarmament policy.
Yeah, and the anti-nuclear power, which is quite possibly one of the most retarded things I've ever read, especially for someone called the Greens.
Yeah.
China is building so many nuclear reactors.
I don't get how you can think that you can just like disarm your nuclear weapons.
Yeah,
and
it's just blue sky thinking insanity.
If I was a country without nuclear weapons, I wouldn't want to get them because like you're just putting a target on your own head. Yeah. But once you have them,
you won't have enough of America or Russia.
No.
Ever.
So you're getting involved necessarily in a potential nuclear war, and like without even having any hope of winning it.
Yeah. I mean, no one has a hope of winning a nuclear war anyway. But you don't even have the chance of like, because we'll throw them back at you, and you've got about 3 in your garage. No one's going to take that as a threat, are they? When the Americans have like 2,000 nuclear warheads.
Yeah,
and the Russians
I guess it's Churchill's fault, isn't it? Because was it Churchill who was it under Churchill's leadership that we got them?
I don't actually know.
It was either that or Attlee. It must have been late 40s or early 50s. I think it might have been Churchill. And I guess that kind of made sense because Churchill couldn't accept that the empire was going to end. And so in his head, we were always going to be an insanely massive, powerful superpower.
Superstate, yeah.
You know, in which case, like, if we still had the whole of the empire, we could have nuclear missiles everywhere. We could, like, in India, all over Africa.
Yeah, just random islands all over the world.
Antarctica. Yeah, Canada. Like, yeah, we just have them pointed at America from Canada.
Yeah, from right next door.
That was what Churchill's vision of the future was.
It's just like a massive, so based.
Yeah, just a massive British Empire with missiles everywhere, pointing at everyone. But yeah, unfortunately, that turned out to be
what a future we could have had, huh?
Well, I don't think we could have had it. I think it was. It
wasn't for those pesky Indians wanting independence.
Yeah. It was probably the fault of rationing. I blame it on rationing. We didn't have enough moral spirit to maintain the empire when we were eating everything out of a fucking can. Yeah.
Yeah. All you can eat is spam and beans. I wouldn't want to fucking... To be fair, I'd go India. It's probably better food than what you'd have in Britain at the time.
Yeah, probably. Well, actually, I don't know because they had a lot of famines, didn't they?
Yeah. Here's your half pound of butter for the year. Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Any other fun headlines? I'm trying to think of anything else that's happened. I mean, speaking of which, the nuclear anti-proliferation treaty came to an end. And hasn't been renewed.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that. Actually.
Donald said he'd we'll sign a better deal. So we'll wait to see if that actually happens. I don't know.
Oh shit! Means. No, some things did happen. Donald Trump last weekend shat himself. Did you see that?
Oh yes, you sent that to me. Yes, of course. How could we forget?
That was amazing.
Yeah.
You could see behind him, you could just see RFK Jr. like looking disgusted.
And you imagine behind him how much notices.
And we know that guy's eaten a lot of putrid meat and stuff, so it must have been really bad for RFK Jr. Yeah, the lady, I don't know who she is, but she really got hit by it.
She was right in the firing line. They cleared that room out pretty fucking quickly.
Yeah, that was crazy. It definitely did happen as well, because like Trump was clearly meant to be taking questions afterwards, I'm pretty sure. And then he was just like, "Thank you, everyone." And then like his aides came over and were like, "Get press, leave now."
Yeah, you don't get that many people in a room to like announce something and then not take questions about it, do you?
Yeah, those fucking conferences with Trump, it was like you see so many people just sucking up to him. It's insane. Like, not the press themselves, but like the other politicians he's with. They all have to like thank him. He signed something. He signed something. I think it was like last week. He signed some bill. I don't even know what it was. And like they had all these like small time politicians come to thank him and like express their gratitude. And like the more they thanked him, yeah, like the more they thanked him, the more he like gave them eye contact and like you know. But if they didn't glaze him enough, then like he'd just be like, thanks, and then like
I hope you kill yourself.
Yeah,
you look pretty gay.
Yeah, and then there was that Trump got questioned by, I think it was a CNN reporter, about the Epstein thing.
Was that the woman?
He kept saying like
she was very stern with him. She never broke eye contact once.
No.
And he was like, "You're a horrible woman. You're gay."
Well, he said like, "You're a young woman, and I've never seen you smile."
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Okay.
Given the context, why would you say that? Why would you say the most creepy old man bullshit in this context? Like, you should be smiling all the time because you're a young woman. That's what young women do.
Hey, toots.
It's like, he's really fucking dumb. Like, I used to think like maybe Trump's like really smart secretly, you know, and he like acts dumb to like get into people's heads, and
I think he's just old.
Yeah, he's very old. I think he is also just fucking dumb. I think all these people are fucking dumb. That's the main takeaway from the Epstein thing, is none of these people are actually that smart. No. You don't become an elite by being smart. You become an elite by being a bootlicker and a pedophile. And, like, being blackmailable. That's, in fact, this is my main interpretation of, like, what I've realized is that Trump basically was put into the presidency. It's no coincidence. I'm pretty sure the first election where super PACs were allowed, if you know what a super PAC is.
I don't know. I've heard the term, but I'm not sure I could.
Basically, super PACs are organizations that fund presidential campaigns, and they're much bigger than the older PACs that you had before. And they were legalized, I believe, in the 2012 election.
Is it PAC?
I actually don't know. Yeah, PAC. But what it means is you can fund candidates way more than you could before. And that they were first allowed in 2012.
Political Action Committee.
That's it. So before 2012, you didn't have super PACs. Then the 2012 election, Obama versus Romney, that was the first time you had them. The next election after that was the election where Trump got elected. Right? So it suddenly became possible. Now, I don't know the figures on how much Trump got funded or whatever. I have no idea. And I'm not saying he got entirely bought. But it makes it easier to get someone like Trump elected. Even if it's not necessarily the person with the most funding will win the election. But you can certainly make a crazy candidate a lot more tenable if you can give them that much money.
Yeah.
And what we've learned from the Epstein thing is that Trump was a very valuable asset to elites because he's incredibly easy to blackmail. Yeah. He's the sleaziest fucking guy ever. Think about it. If you're an elite, if you're an extremely rich elite, and there's an American election going on, and you're trying to decide who you want to throw money at to become president, you would probably pick the guy who you could blackmail the most.
Yeah, who you can
control.
You would
pick the sleazy guy. Yeah, the sleazy guy who was friends with Jeff Epstein for a long time. So, and then you tie that in with all the shit we saw about Moot and 4chan, and you know all this other stuff, and it starts to make sense why Trump happened. You know, Trump isn't just this bizarre, random, completely contingent historical anomaly. This is like actually quite logical. When you lift the chains off of how much you can fund a presidential campaign legally, it's almost inevitable that you end up with the most blackmailable man in America becoming president.
Yeah.
It's actually just logical. It's perfectly logical. So it's not surprising at all. And like, who's behind this? I don't know. I mean, the mainstream media keeps talking about Russia, but I feel like it's probably Israel.
I noticed that in the Times where it said there was an article saying, "Is Jeffrey Epstein really a Russian agent?" I was like, "What gave you that idea? Who thought that?"
Yeah, I mean, look, Russian agents are everywhere, so I'm sure there probably is some Russian involvement because, like, they're just everywhere.
Mandelson invited a bunch of Russians to tour Number 10 because Jeff Epstein was like, "I've got this hot babe, Oliana Tatiana, and her dad wants a tour of Number 10. Can you do that for me? And I'll let you fuck another boy." And he did it.
But let's face it, if you're looking for if you want to pin it all on one country that's behind all this shit, it's pretty fucking obvious it would be Israel.
We spoke about it last time. I'm convinced.
I mean, the Russia thing does make sense because think about like how much Putin has been able to do with Trump as president, or certainly in the years since Trump first became president. I get that Biden was still around when the Ukrainian invasion happened, wasn't he? When was that? 2022?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. Biden was still present. Yeah, my brain is like not.
To be fair, it's been going on for 4 years.
Yeah. Well, the problem is that I've got a flu.
Yeah.
The problem is that I got a flu and my brain's.
But I mean, like when it started, it's so hazy in my mind. I remember the day, but like when it was, because it's like, hang on, that could only have been a couple of years ago, right? And it's like it's almost half a decade ago this war has been going on. I mean, this active phase of the war.
I was in London at like a gathering, like an event with some friends, and I remember like walking through the streets afterwards, quite drunk, with one of my friends, and him just being like, "Do you think he's actually gonna nuke us? Like, do you think he's actually gonna use nuclear weapons?" I remember thinking like, I don't know. I have no idea. Genuinely, it was like it felt so terrifying. Now we've all adjusted to the fact that people are just getting slaughtered in Ukraine on a daily basis by drones and shit. Like I guess we've stopped caring so much. But like when it started, it was very scary.
It's because we're not really involved,
Yeah, well, I guess when Johnson was prime minister, he wanted to be very involved in it, and he was very keen on.
But even just giving Ukraine materiel, you don't feel it really as a citizen because the costs that are passed on to you aren't direct, so you don't notice in the same way. And
Exactly.
We have no stockpiles of any munitions or anything. Final couple of things to finish us off. Japan's lady prime minister is looking good to win her majority. Quite an overwhelming majority as well.
Which party is she? Is she the Liberal Democratic Party?
She's the Liberal Democratic
far-right
Party,
nationalist party,
and she's described as a right-wing conservative. Yeah. So her name's Sanae Takeichi.
They're so bad at naming parties. They're almost as bad as the Germans.
So they've got the Liberal Democratic Party. So they're polled at getting a super majority.
Yeah.
Then they've got
they're the most successful party, aren't they?
Yeah. Then they've got the Centrist Reform Alliance next up. So the projected minimums, the Liberal Democratic Party are projected to get at least 274 seats with a majority of 233. Then the Centrist Reform Alliance is projected to get a minimum of 37. And they're the second most popular party. Then we've
What's
got
the point in that alliance?
Yeah, I don't know why they've called it an alliance, because I don't know who's in there. Japan Innovation Party, they're not looking good. Sanseito, the Democratic Party for the People. The Japanese Communist Party, with 3 projected seats. And then Team
it's more better than
Mirai.
Our Communist Party.
Yeah, true. And then Team Mirai, with 7.
That sounds like a game development company or something.
It definitely sounds like the most anime shit ever.
Team Mirai! They're all like 14 years old, like in piloting mechas.
I'm going to find out what Team Mirai want. Team Mirai is a Japanese political party founded by AI engineer and science fiction writer Takahiro Anno. The party supports e-democracy, and they're described as a technocratic. Cool.
Technocratic is just a word with no meaning at this point. It just doesn't mean anything. I have no idea. If someone told me they're a technocrat, I would have no fucking idea what that means.
Apparently they're reasonably popular for what they are. Their slogan is an e-democracy. Yeah, I don't entirely know what that means.
Just voting from home, I guess. Oh, they just have online polls every week. It's like direct democracy.
Internet democracy uses information, communication technology, and political and governance process. Okay, thanks, Wikipedia. Their slogan, toward a country where we can believe the future is bright. Wow.
Nice.
They've got me convinced.
Absolutely.
And it's run by a woman who was born in 1990.
So we got a millennial party in Japan.
We do.
Very nice.
And they want e-democracy.
I'm sure that'll solve all of Japan's problems.
Yeah, undoubtedly. And we'll leave with the funny article. Doping chiefs investigate claims ski jumpers used injections to enlarge penises. Witold Banker says the World Anti-Doping Agency will look into extraordinary claims that Olympic ski jumpers have injected acid into their penises to enhance performance. Wow.
How does that enhance performance?
So I did have a look. So apparently you can inject hyaluronic acid into your cock to temporarily inflate it. Then when they get measured for their suit, the suit has to be slightly larger to accommodate their massive wang. And that increases their surface area. So when they do the ski jump, it acts more like a parachute almost as they come down. And so, like, apparently, even a slightly larger dick can add like over 5 meters to your jump because it's so refined at this point.
This is why, like, athletics of any kind is just redundant these days, because they're all so good at it that the only way they can compete at this point is over just bullshit like this. Yeah. Like, 50 years ago, the ski jump people probably had, like, they didn't put any thought whatsoever into the size of their suit. It was just about how good you were at ski jumping.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like there's just these tiny variables you're dealing with.
Yeah, it's just so perfected.
It's not even fun to watch this shit anymore. Like, it's not even entertaining.
Like all the same, really.
Yeah, everyone's on steroids. You know, like, it's just...
They should just let people do what they want. If you want to fuck your body up, do it. Go on then. And
I
go out there with a massive dick that's like up to your chin. You know, if you want to inject your dick with some weird chemicals, but hyaluronic acid is in like moisturizer for your face. So for any gents out there, raid your girlfriend's face cleansing supplies if you want to get a couple of extra inches for about 5 minutes.
If you're going skiing, if you're going on a skiing holiday.
Valentine's is coming up, gentlemen. All I'm going to say. But yeah, if you want to become some sort of roided up freak, you should be allowed to do it. That would be way more
I think the real problem is that we have professional athletes, which is stupid. It shouldn't be a fucking day job.
Imagine rugby where they're all like massive mutant freaks beating the shit out of each other.
Well, that's what rugby is.
Yeah,
that's what rugby is. And the result is they have to make the rules so that it's way safer to play because they're all too like fucking powerful and big, and they end up like killing each other with concussions and shit.
Well, that's the thing about American football, isn't it? Because they all wear armor, they actually end up being way more brutal with each other.
Because the tackles are like would be completely illegal in rugby. But if you watch rugby from the 70s, it's way more fun to watch because it's amateur. They weren't professional rugby union players back then. And what that meant is you could tackle above the neck. Like you could take someone down. You could just like punch
them.
You could literally punch someone in the face. Like now you have to hand them off with your open palm. Back then they were just beating the shit out of each other because they were just normal guys. You know, the Welsh team was all like miners.
Yeah.
You know, they had day jobs. The moment it became professional and it's like, this is now your full-time job. So really, the problem here is capitalism, right? But you can commodify everything, even sports. But and the result is like, it's just fucking dangerous. So they have to tackle that. First they shifted it to like, you have to tackle below the waist. It's like, okay, well that's still entertaining to watch. But now like they've had to like, I think they've had to change that. And like they made the rules even stricter about how you tackle people. And it just makes the game fucking boring. Sure, the athletes are better overall, but every one of them is better. So when you have a player who is really, really good, they don't even stand out as much.
Yeah, when the whole bar gets raised up, you don't notice because it's not wonky.
Yeah. It's not like, Gareth Edwards in the 70s, like basically getting the ball on one end of the pitch, sprinting all the way to the other end, like and scoring a try, and that being like something that you never get to see really, because this guy was just insanely good at rugby, and his team just happened to be really good. Like there's no, it's all just that there's nothing separating them, so it's not actually entertaining.
Modern Premier League football is the most embarrassing spectacle I've ever seen.
I don't even watch football. I have no idea.
I very rarely do, but the last time I did, it was basically just who can get into the opposition's penalty box and then get injured. It's basically who can fall over convincingly enough, close enough to the goal that you'll get a penalty and then you can score a goal. It was so lame. It was like American football. Like if you don't fall, everyone's falling over, and then everyone has to restart, free kick, penalty. Oh my god, there's about 2 minutes of playtime the whole game. It was awful.
Well, that's the thing. When you make athletes professional athletes, the stakes are so much higher for them. It's their entire career. It's their entire livelihood. So they're gonna go to any lengths they can to try and get that
livelihood is like unachievable through most other means. They're earning like tens of millions a year.
Yeah, but if you fuck that up,
that's it.
Like you've just said goodbye to being a multi-millionaire for the rest of your life.
And
like
also, after you retire, you can become a football pundit, a manager. The career path is infinite.
Yeah. Once you put people's livelihoods on the line, or like just the opportunity to be insanely rich, there's no such thing as sportsmanship.
Yeah.
It goes out the window. You know? Yeah. Sports are only good when it's amateur, I think. Yeah. That's my takeaway.
I think that's why a lot of people get more into like local football and smaller local games, because it's just more interesting.
And you might even know the guys on the pitch. You know, they could be some guy you see every weekend.
You know, you see a decent degree of football where people are actually trying their best and not just falling over.
But they're normal people. They're like, they're
just playing because it's fun. It's a fun game to watch and fun to play. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I suck at it, so.
Yeah, I'm not very good at any sport. I like chess and shooting.
But you know, we're amateur podcasters. The reason we're so good is because we don't our lives aren't on the line. You know, but the moment we launch our premium episodes, then we're playing dirty.
Then we're getting really nasty. And then I'm afraid, Sakia, we're gonna rinse you.
Yeah, we're coming for you.
We're coming for you, big boy. And let's just remember the original meaning of the term amateur: for the love of something. And that's why we do this.
That is what it means, isn't it?
It is.
I didn't even know that. Yeah. I never thought about that.
Doing it for the love of whatever you're doing.
Unlike professional.
Unlike
whatever the fuck that means. Whatever you profess to do. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I think being an amateur is not a bad thing. Do something because you love to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you'll be an artist.
Yeah. Or an autist. Depending on what you choose to
do. The boundary between the two is often a fine line.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, very good.
All right then. Well, thank you for joining us for, I think, episode 14.
It is, yes. Episode 14.
And hopefully I won't have a cold next week. And I might have a job. So who knows?
We shall see you all for the Valentine's special.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's going to be great.
God Worshipping Society. As our child turns 15. Yeah, she's going to be really slutty next weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be... But I'm just going to act like it's not going on.
We'll just keep reading the paper, and when her boyfriend comes downstairs in the morning, we'll give him a
wet earplugs at night. Wet earplugs
at night.
Okay.
Okay. Like and subscribe.
Or your mother will die horribly in her sleep.
Amen.
Amen.